Now, on the 100 for 100 policy on production and productivity, this is basically one of those interventions we felt we should put in place to really help to grow the Nigerian economy, create employment in support of the president's vision that we should create 100 million jobs in 10 years, which is like 10 million jobs in 1 year. That, I must say, is daunting assignment, but I think we all should play our roles from different sectors of the economy, whether from the monitor or fiscal, to see what can be done to help achieve this objective. So here we're looking at how do we begin to really support and catalyze productivity that will help achieve our own policy of import substitution, that we have raw materials in Nigeria such that if the plants and equipment are funded, right, the raw materials that you need to operate those factories are almost entirely available in Nigeria. That is our objective, because we believe that if we do so, we'll begin to see that we are truly diversifying the base of our economy. We'll begin to see that what we can produce in Nigeria, we are producing them, and not that we are importing them and exporting jobs to other countries. That we are able to create jobs for our people and not export jobs to other countries. That is what we seek to achieve. And we have said it very clearly that we will advertise it, we will scrutinize it, we will ensure that all the indices necessary in terms of employment, raw material content are all measurable. We can see it before we embark on that project. And if anybody is doing anything that is wrong, Nigerians will be there to say it. So I believe that is something that is also revolutionary, and I think will also help to ensure that, but I keep saying, our own, what is our selfish interest? If we fund industries that will produce what ordinarily we import, produce it locally, create jobs, right? It also saves the dollar that we would have spent importing those goods. And that is where our own selfish interest is. And that's why we continue to talk about what is our own really selfish interest in this. Our selfish interest is that we want to work hard to reduce the size of foreign exchange that people come to ask for to import goods that can be produced within Nigeria. And we are really very determined to achieve this, and we are calling on the support of everybody to achieve this objective. Talking about bank charges, the Central Bank of Nigeria insists that consumers of bank services, in this case customers, must seek, and indeed if it is not on CBN website, I'm going to ask that we place it on our website, the guide to bank charges. Go and read your bank guide to bank charges. You should not allow any bank to just pass on any discretionary charges on your account that is not contained in the guide to bank charges. Hold it as your Bible as you deal with the bank. If you find any that is not, raise an alarm. We have our Consumer Protection Department. We have always advertised our own hotlines and emails where you can always reach us. And indeed, we have seen cases in the past where people have raised an alarm, and it has resulted in hundreds, if not even billions of naira reversal back to customers' account. So I can only say, if you are being charged by any bank for transactions that did not happen, or charges that are not inside or stated in the guide to bank charges, you have to ask the bank to reverse it, because it is not meant to be there. What we saw in the last, I would say, 2-3 years, of course, particularly during the period of COVID, is that we saw a lot of easing, a lot of spending in order to boost economies. And what we have also seen, that it has resulted in the inflationary pressures that are persisting right now, even in the advanced economies, and that is why countries like the United States are concerned and are beginning to think about they need to embark on a bond buying program, so as to bond selling program, so as to reduce the liquidity in the system and the rest of them. So what does that mean? As they sell the bonds and they withdraw liquidity, yields in those environments increase. As yields in those environments increases, then we will see inferentially a flow of capital from emerging or developing economies back to advanced economies, because those areas are normally their safe havens. So what would that mean? You will see a flow of capital, it will move from the emerging. But for us, I must say in the last 2 years, we have not quite benefited from those flows as such. Indeed, what we've been seeing, that we've been seeing gradual movement out, and the central bank has done everything possible to make sure that that we are dealing with the issues of foreign investors taking their monies out in a very orderly manner that does not hurt our system. We will continue to do that. So we don't see how that will hurt our system worse than the situation that we are today. So we will just continue to do our work, because we did not, those that should border will be countries in the last 2 years that have substantial inflow of forex into their economies. Of course, naturally, they will lose. So there's nothing for us to worry here in Nigeria. On the commodity exchange, work is also advanced. The team working on that, I think we'll have a couple of meetings to hold. We'll have to talk about how do we deal with the existing board, how do we deal with the existing management, how do we deal with several other issues and the rest of them. And as soon as we're able to deal with this, I believe we should be ready to take off. Funding should not be a problem. That what is important is that we're very upbeat about the progress that we've achieved so far in the economy, and what we can see if we keep doing the right things is that yes, we are still far from double-digit growth, but I believe Nigeria will move aggressively, keep doing the right thing, stop doing the wrong things, focus aggressively on them tenaciously. I think the growth levels will move aggressively upwards. We are expecting that growth for 2021 certainly will be above 3. We are so certain to be above 3. So if we take it on from there, I've got 2022, we'll expect that it will move towards 4, if not better, if we keep doing the right things. Because whether we like it or not, as economists, there must be certain risk variables. All things being equal, because if something happens and that makes it difficult for you, you will tell the whole world, this is where we plan we should be, but ABC happened, and so we couldn't achieve it. Unfortunately, this is what we achieved. But we don't pray that those negative certain risk variables happen, so that we can continue on the right course and the rest of them. It's still too early for us to begin to carry out an assessment, because it's just, I think this is the 4th week now, but I think it is gratifying to see that so far, I think we've seen almost about 560,000 downloads on the website, on the eNaira platform, out of which 490,000 are consumers and 83,000 are merchants. So we're optimistic that things are going. But let's not forget, like we said, the eNaira or digital currency product has extremely wide possibilities. There's so many things that can be done. But what we've done initially is to constrain it, begin the journey gradually. We are taking baby steps. So even in the midst of we taking baby steps to see how actors within that globe are behaving to ensure that we're able to control some of the risks that we see, I think that it is a good result so far. As we see the performance of players and stakeholders within that eNaira market, what we do, we open it up more and more, and we think that it is a game changer for the world and also for Nigeria. So too early to begin to talk about it, but at least by way of update, we are moving closer to about 1 million downloads on that platform. On First Bank, yes, you are right. We've been reading about some newspaper talks about that. You know, for us, yes, newspaper talks. With due apologies to the press, we will continue to read these stories. But the point is this: I think it's good for us to cast our mind back to the position of First Bank 6 years ago. 6 years ago, when CBN started this program of looking at the bank to reposition, let's not forget, First Bank remains the oldest bank in Nigeria, 1894. It is I use the word strong, aggressively, domestically important bank in Nigeria. If anything happens to First Bank, it means something has happened to the Nigerian banking system. And that is why we're taking our guidance about how to get the bank back afoot very seriously. 6 years ago, like I said, because of the build-up, an aggressive build-up of non-performing loans on the books of First Bank, the share price of First Bank was about 2 naira per share. We took it on, right? Everybody was running away from the shares of First Bank. Because we have cleaned the balance sheet now, the NPLs have dropped aggressively. People are seeing that this money-making machine, First Bank, is back again on the race for profitability. They are now competing for the shares of First Bank. Why should I quarrel that people are competing for the shares of First Bank, which 6 years ago was 2 naira, and they were running away from it? And today the shares of First Bank, and the last time I looked at it, was 11 naira 55 kobo during the weekend. I'm happy to see that they are competing for the shares. But of course, they should all know First Bank is so big that not one person can say he owns First Bank. They are just one, and they should see themselves as representing others in running the bank. Okay? I have read Securities and Exchange Commission clarify the issue of basically practically all the infrastructure that we need to put in place for the takeoff of infrastructure cooperation has been achieved. And we thank the President for giving all approvals that are needed. We thank the Vice President, being the chairman of the steering committee, for also giving all the approvals that are needed for us to proceed. Transaction advisors have been appointed. Asset managers are eager, 4 of them have been appointed. The management of Infracore, with just a few number of people, we are currently concluding the appointment of the CEO of the Infrastructure Corporation, who is an expert, a first-class person who understands infrastructure business globally, and the rest of them. But we even while we are waiting for the management to get on board, the shareholders are holding very aggressive meetings, and they are currently reviewing about 3 major projects, which eventually will be handed over to the asset managers. And I'm sure that the asset managers themselves are salivating and waiting to see those assets come onto their hands, so they can begin to fund the infrastructure development of Nigeria. So we're very hopeful that is going on very well. The NIFC, Nigeria International Financial Center, we just feel that Nigeria, being the biggest economy in Africa, should be able to establish a financial center. That is also going on well. We just have about 4 weeks to the end of the year, so I'm not that optimistic that we will. Don't forget, I have said within 12 months we would. But I believe that before the middle of next year, the NIFC should actually begin operation. And we also have received several inquiries from foreign investors and actors in financial centers that are willing to come on board and work with us here. If you recall, from our standpoint, we granted a forbearance regime from just 2 areas. One primarily had to do with the fact that we said that all loans, that people, companies and businesses that are impacted adversely by COVID-19, that they should be given about 2 years. We first of all started by saying 1 year, from 2020 to March 2021, and by February 2021 we extended it by 1 more year when the third strain of the virus pandemic continued. We extended by 1 more year, making it 2 years that will expire by March 2022. So 2 years moratorium was one aspect. Another aspect had to do with the fact that we said for CBN interventions that there is a need for us to reduce the interest rate from 9% to 5%. Indeed, another aspect of the intervention forbearance is that because we knew that the adverse consequence of COVID-19 was resulting in a reduction in the revenue generating capacity of businesses and companies, we also granted the banks an opportunity to allow their customers to ask for a restructure of their facilities. Maybe if it's a 2-year facility, extend it to 4 years, a 4-year facility, extend it to 6 years, a 6-year facility, extend it to 8 years, so as to reduce the impact or the burden of the cash flow on them. At this time, we believe, and those were the periods when there was an unprecedented lockdown of the global economy. All countries, with no exception, were on lockdown. Travels came to zero. People were not allowed to leave their homes. And in Nigeria, this persisted for at least about 3 to 4 months. Now, since from around September, October 2020, Nigeria began a process of easing the lockdown. And notwithstanding the fact that we still saw that around February, March of 2021, that the Delta strain now reared its head, we still said that these businesses should have this forbearance. At this time, we believe that the global economy has opened up. The lockdowns have been lifted, and of course, we know the casualties, the economic damages and fatalities that was caused as a result of the lockdown. And I'm so sure that not too many countries, if at all, will, in the midst of this pandemic, want to embark on a wholesome lockdown any longer. Particularly because most countries are all administering vaccinations that they think should assist in reducing the impact of the strain of the virus. So we believe in Nigeria, businesses are back, companies are back to business, revenues have improved, and if revenues have improved, then companies or businesses that took loans, if we see the loans for intervention for move from 5 to 9, if we see that the moratorium of 2 years expires in March 2022, and of course the restructure that you have graciously benefited remains, then naturally we should expect that companies should be able to pay back their loans. So as a result, we do not see any likelihood of increase in NPLs. Indeed, we have worked so hard to bring the NPL down from as high as almost about 9-10% about 2 years ago to the level that it is today, which is 5.3%. And we are gratified that we are aggressively working NPLs down to the maximum threshold that has been set by the central bank. So I don't think there's any need for anyone to worry at all. New Telegraph talked about the fact that the Nigerian economy has witnessed some improvements. What is CBN doing to ensure that this trend continues, so that economic prosperity of the country, that we can continue to see the prosperity? Well, I think, again, it is important that we continue to commend both the monetary and fiscal authorities for work that has been done for us to exit recession. Again, Nigeria was confronted by a stagflationary situation where inflation was going up and output growth was coming down. If you want to tackle inflation, you have to tighten, you have to rein in inflation, and in the process of tightening to rein in inflation, you will take certain decisions that will hurt output growth, it will hurt capacity of financial institutions to grant credit, it will make it difficult for the creation of monies, liquidity will become very tight, and what that would do is that it will constrain manufacturing output and also inferentially also get to hurt output. On the other hand, if for GDP, what you want to do is to see how you can continue to spend money. As you spend because you want to improve output, what will happen is that, yes, you see that growth is improving, but at the same time, that impact of easing, which increases liquidity in the system, will create inflationary pressures on the economy, increase prices, and create problem again for the economy. So you see, The basic issue is the dilemma of monetary policy. And that is why we say that, notwithstanding the peculiar situation that Nigeria finds itself, we are in a position where we're able to manage the balance. And monetary policy committee needed to be appreciated for the fact that rather than take on their own stance, which is price and monetary stability, they have said that they are going to adopt a stance of price and monetary stability that is conducive to growth. And that is why we're seeing what we're seeing indeed. And that is why Monetary Policy Committee prides itself that it has played a significant role in moderation of inflation, in the improved output growth that we're seeing, and overall improvement in the recovery of the economy. And of course, all we would expect is that they have said we must continue to still pursue price stability that is conducive to growth. What does that mean? We will do everything possible to continue to support our households, everything possible to support our small and medium enterprises, so that can catalyze consumption and investment expenditure, help to improve gross domestic product. While on another hand, they have also said, the management should try and continue to use administrative measures to see what can be done to rein in inflation from that side, and at the same time, with its intervention in the other sectors, like maybe agriculture in this case, you would see that agri prices eventually, luckily we've been lucky. In fact, in 2021, we did not hear of any case of flooding at all, and that for us, I think we must be very thankful to God. As a result of that, we're expecting a very bumper harvest in all our agricultural products. And if this happens, what that will do is that it will considerably dampen inflation and prices, which will continue to help our attempt to continue to rein in inflation and moderate prices in the economy. So we will continue to do these things.